Hey kids, it's Mr. Fly here, hope you're well, out and about on another bike review, something a little bit different for you this time. Today I'm riding the Herald Brat 125. Don't let it be said, I only ride exotic motorcycles. So this bike is a learner-friendly bike, great for doing your CBT, and yours on the road for just £3,000. So stick around and stay tuned, I'll tell you what I think of it. Well, it's very easy to tell you straight off the bat what I think of it. It is just an absolute hoot. This is such great fun, this bike. I've been riding this for the last couple of weeks actually. This is one that I've got on long-term loan right the way through winter. Really looking forward to riding this a lot. Because around these little back lanes, it is just, as I say, great fun. I'd kind of forgotten what fun riding a 125 was. Of course, it's not really aimed at a rider like me, although anybody can ride a 125, and I'm starting to think that maybe everybody should own one. But it's really aimed at the new rider, or the rider that's just starting to learn to ride, because as a 125 you can do your CBT on this bike if you want to, and I think that would be a great idea. When I learnt to ride this time round, when I did my direct access course about 11 years ago, I didn't have a 125, although everybody has to start on one of those, and in order to get some wheel time I actually rented a 125 from the local bike school, and it cost me quite a bit. And actually, thinking back, had I bought one of these, or a bike like these, had these been available then, I probably wouldn't have spent too much more money if I just bought one of these outright and learnt to ride on that myself and had fewer lessons. And of course, if you're a commuter and you want to go to work, or if you live in a town or whatever, then you don't need massive power. A bike like this would be absolutely brilliant for weaving through traffic in town and going to work. Costs less than a season ticket on the train, and you'd have just so much more fun. Anyway, enough about the reasons for 125s. What about this particular one? What is it? Well, it's a single cylinder 125cc. I'll go through the specs in detail when I do the walk around in a minute. It's designed, as you can see, in a sort of a scrambler style. It's a really cool looking bike. Built by Herald, who are a manufacturer based up in Cambridgeshire. I think they're in Huntingdon. And they're one of these, they are a British company, but they are one of these companies that buys in, I think, predominantly Chinese parts and assembles the bikes to their spec. And they are doing great things actually up at Herald. They're not just assembling bikes made from Chinese parts, they also have a factory, and they're starting to make their own, or will be very soon, completely British built motorcycles, including the engine, but more on that on another day. Back to the Brat 125. I think the engine in this, as I say, sourced from China. I think it's loosely based on a Suzuki unit, so completely under-stressed, proven, should be quite reliable, and of course time will tell. I'm not one of these people that completely poo-poos anything that comes out of China. I've ridden quite a few Chinese motorcycles now, some are better than others, and I have to say this is definitely one of the better ones. It just doesn't feel like a cheaply made motorcycle, and again, when I do the walk around in a minute, I'll show you some of the features of it that don't look like it's a cheap motorcycle either, even though, as I say, it is just £3,000 on the road. Right, so much for all that then. What's it actually like to ride? Well, the seat on it, quite comfy actually, nice and padded, very narrow, but nice comfortable place to be. With this bench seat you can move around, so if you're short or long you can sort of find a comfortable spot for it. Don't really know where I'm going on this ride. Well, let's go up here, see where this leads us. This is what I like about these sort of bikes. You can take them anywhere and you don't need to be afraid that you're going to get somewhere you can't get out of, because it's so light and small and nimble. You can go anywhere on it. Bryant's Bottom Road, that's got to be a road to go up. Anyway, yeah, so back to comfort. So yeah, the seat's good. The seating position, nice and upright. Your feet, your legs rather at a little bit of an acute angle, so slightly sporty feel to your legs. Handlebars are hugely wide on here. It feels great actually, this seating position. It makes you feel really cool. It's just a cool looking bike, this, and it feels cool to ride. Certainly if I was a teenager, or even now, let's face it, as a 50-something-year-old man, it just makes you feel good to ride on a bike like this. And the beauty of it is you can absolutely thrash it, and you're not into silly speeds. You're not going to come to any great harm. So anyway, thumbs up for the riding position. Very comfortable and easy to ride with these wide handlebars. Nothing behind me. Just going to check the brakes. Front brakes work absolutely fine. Let's try the rears. Oh, actually the rears are very good. I suspect the brakes may be linked on here actually. These small capacity bikes don't require you to have ABS. You can have linked brakes. I suspect that's why the brakes are so good on here. Mirrors work really well, they look cool, they're these cute bar end things. And given it's a single cylinder machine, there's very little in the way of vibration. You can certainly see out the back they're not blurring the view. Yeah, those mirrors can certainly put to shame some of the more established and exotic manufacturers. I'll mention no names, Ducati. And the bike sounds absolutely brilliant. Again, I'll show you the exhaust in a minute. It's one of the cool features of this bike. It's got a great stainless steel exhaust that they've made for this that looks sort of custom, and it sounds really great. Suspension on it and handling, well, it's adequate. I mean, again, you're not going to be herring round at ridiculous speeds, feeling for the limits of grip. But for a bike such as it is, it feels absolutely fine. It's not, the ride is nice and plush actually. This is a bumpy, horrible, pothole, typical English B road, and I'm not being jarred around at all. And it's not all wafty either. It's what I call in that Goldilocks zone, just right I'd say. It's not adjustable of course, it is built to a price. Gearbox on it seems absolutely fine. Clutch is really nice and light. 6-speed on here as well. Some of these Chinese source bikes and other 125s tend to just have 5-speed gearboxes. This has got 6. Very short gear, the first two in particular. First and second. You barely get going cool, so here's first. Right, and into second by the time I'm on 13 miles an hour. So you have to really stir the box to get going. But again, that's to be expected with such a low powered bike, I guess. But if you're learning to ride a bike, that's what you need. But once you're in third and fourth, away you go, and she cruises along a treat. So flickable as well, nice and light. I think it's 147 kilograms, and it just feels super light. I love small capacity bikes, and I love lightweight bikes. This combines the two in a really most delightful way. I mean, I'm lucky because I just ride bikes for fun. It's a hobby for me. I don't have to use them for transport, but I have no hesitation using this day to day for transport. As I say, particularly if I was in the urban environment, it'd be brilliant for filtering through traffic with a big leverage on these bars, and it's lightweight. And because you're sitting up relatively high, you can see over traffic as well. Great view out the back out of these mirrors. It's a good situational awareness. And with this loud exhaust as well, sounds kind of cool. The instrumentation on here, proper fuel gauge again. Take note, more premium brands. If you can have a fuel gauge on a bike costing £3 grand, why can't you on one that costs 20 grand? Predominantly an LCD display for your speed. It's got your gear position on there, fuel gauge and your trip, and then it's got the analog tachometer. I keep hitting the hooter by mistake, I don't know why. That alarm, that chap. Talking of which, the switch gear on here, absolutely fine. It's really positive feeling. It's not that PCB stuff. You know when you've engaged it. Nothing complicated about the bike. No particular electronics or riding modes or anything like that. So everything as you expect, just starting and stopping on this side. Indicators and lights on this side and your horn, and that's about it. It's just back to basics biking, and it's really great fun. And it being a 125 as well means it's going to be super frugal on the juice. So it's going to cost you virtually nothing to run in terms of fuel. I love the fact that I can be pretty much, well, I'm at full throttle, look, and I'm not going at stupid speeds, just 50 miles an hour. Fabulous. Right, where am I going here? Let's go down this way. Gearbox is nice on here, nice and stickable. You definitely know when you're in gear and when you're not. Yeah, all the switch gear works nice. That exhaust, absolutely fabulous. Flat out round the corner, or maybe not, bit of gravel. Whipped out at the last minute. Yeah, it feels really nice. Oh, there's a good spot. Let's come back there and do the walk around. Right, let's turn around. Like I say, super easy to ride this. Really tight turning circle as well. Turn it on a sixpence. Just nothing difficult about this bike at all. Right, it's a bit dark, but it's a nice leafy spot. Let's show you around the bike. Let's go there. Right, what's it like to find neutral? There we go, not too bad. Side stand easy to get at. We're on a solid bit of ground, that's good. The key is at the side here, very old school. Alrighty, there we go. And this in a great colour, this sort of orangey bronzy colour. Comes in 3 colours, this sort of bronzy colour, a green or a black. And there's that fantastic exhaust look, stainless steel, welded up by the guys at Herald, I think, and it just looks the business, isn't it, like a proper custom pipe. Anyway, let me get the other camera out in the usual way, and I'll talk you through the spec of this little puppy. Okay, and we are rolling. Here we go then. Now when I say this little puppy, I mean that of course because it's a 125cc machine, but actually physically it's relatively big. The seat height on this comes in at 820mm, which is quite high. I can get my feet flat on the ground thanks to this sort of narrow seat. And how cool does that seat look as well? Look at this, the ribbing on here, and the detail is lovely. Again, for a bike that is obviously built down to cost, they've got some really nice details on it. So before I get to the spec, let me show you them. So the seat, first of all, really like the way that looks. Then you've got things like these cool mud guards that are made out of aluminium, not plastic, front and back. They look the business. Coming round, let's just give you a bit more of a close-up of that exhaust that I just showed you, because the welds on here are really something else. I mean, that is a nicely made bit of kit, isn't it? That's far more expensive looking than you expect on a bike like this. Not everything is great though. I mean, if you look at the frame here, it's got this weird sort of crackle coating, and some of the welds are, you know, do leave a little bit to be desired. But generally speaking, again, for a bike costing $3,000 on the road, I mean, what do you expect? It's pretty cool, isn't it? And I do like this colour as well. Anyway, okay, so back to the spec. So the engine on here, as I say, I think it's based on a Suzuki unit. You may recognise it. Air-cooled, of course, 124cc, in fact. Single. It puts out 9.9 brake horsepower. That's 7.2 kilowatts, which, as I say, makes it learner legal. Perfect for doing your CBT on. Top speed, according to Herald, 69.6 miles an hour, and I don't doubt that. Crouched down with a following wind, I've seen an indicated 70. I'm a relatively light person at 11 stone, but yeah, it seems to, for a 125, it goes absolutely fine. I probably wouldn't want to go on a motorway or a dual carriageway on it very much, but yeah, for the sorts of things that use these bikes around these lanes or around town, then perfectly adequate. Let's have a look at the brakes on here. So it's just got on the front a single disc. It's one of these pedalled affairs that looks quite good. Not too sure about that red brake caliper. It looks like it's a dual pot caliper on there. They work absolutely fine though. And then on the back, I think yeah, we've got another one of these pedalled affairs and a red caliper again. That looks like that's a single pot on there as well. But they do work absolutely fine, as I say. Suspension actually got upside down forks on the front here, look. Of course not adjustable, and the rear is just a monoshock, as you saw tucked underneath there. Seat height, as I say, 820mm, so quite high. Weight of the bike, 147 kilograms dry, so light as you like. That tank, which has got a nice shape about it, I think. 10 litres, sips fuel. Haven't worked out yet how much range you can get, but you know, I don't know, you can probably get a couple of 100 miles out of that tank on about 10 quid worth of fuel, something like that. Price on the road, $2,999, and it includes 24 months RAC breakdown cover, would you believe? So you're not going to be stranded. What else can I tell you about it? Told you about the colours. Oh, it has got this cool LED front light as well, which I think looks ace, and LED indicators as well, which look rather cool. LED indicators at the back. And another one of the features I like actually is this rear light on it. Look, that is pretty cool, isn't it? Overall, I keep saying it, but it is a cool bike. Let me show you the switch gear. Quite basic. It looks very similar to the switch gear I've got on my Honda CRF actually, so it's not too shabby at all. And there's that little instrument binnacle that I showed you before. Could be better if it's angled up slightly. It's not adjustable, unfortunately, but shows you everything you need. Absolute winner. So there we go. That's the spec of the bike. Let's jump on, ride some more. Well, one thing I didn't mention actually as you did the walk around with the tyres, they got these knobbly affairs that give it that sort of scrambler look again, which I really like. Goodness knows what they'll be like in the wet. I've not tried them yet. They say on them cordial and nylon, which doesn't give me any great faith, but they handle fine on the road, and they look really cool. And you know, if there were a green lane around here, I mean, look at this, perfect for giving it a try, but not a bridle, sorry, not a byway, so open to all traffic. So we're not going to try it, but I reckon you could do the odd light green lane on those absolutely fine. Anyway, that's it for the walk around. Let's jump back on, as I say, give her a little bit of a sum up. So a bit more about Herald then. So British manufacturer, based out in starts really eagerly this, based out in Cambridgeshire, Huntingdon Way I think, or could be Peterborough. And they're doing great things. They've got, as I say, their own factory, and they've got another bigger model of this bike in development called the Brute, and that's a 500cc model, so that's going to be coming out very soon. By the time you see this video it might already be out, but looking forward to getting a go on that when I can. And if that's like a more powerful version of this, then it's going to be absolutely brilliant. So I've ridden this bike several times now, and I can't find anything about it that I don't like. It's just such fun. It's such an antidote to all those other bikes. As a motorcycling YouTuber, I'm very lucky I get to ride all the latest and greatest bikes, including some pretty large, heavy, big capacity things, luxury, tourers, sports bikes, you name it. I've ridden them all, and they're all great in their own way, but you get back to basics biking like this once in a while, it just reminds you what biking's all about. This reminds me of BSA Bantams and things like that. Just simple motorcycles that were there for the fun of it. I'm really struggling to find anything about this bike so far that I don't like. Yes, the build quality, as I mentioned, the welds for example, is a bit suspect in parts. I don't know how it's going to stand up to winter, but I have got this, as I say, for a long period of time through the winter. So I'll see how it goes, and I'll let you know. I'll report back. So there's going to be plenty more videos on this bike on the channel if you're interested in it. If you've got any questions about it, drop them in the comments below, and I'll try and cover them off in the next video. But so far so good. I think if you're looking for a commuter, a city bike, something to have fun just around the lanes like this, or indeed you're learning to ride and need something to do your CBT and then learn your craft on, then you could do a lot worse than the Herald Brat 125, I can tell you. Alright, that's it for now. Look forward to speaking to you again soon. Until then, this has been the Mist and Fly. Cheerio. I would not want to meet something coming up the other way. Ooh, nice pad.